So thank you all for coming. Today is April 15th, tax day. It is 7:01. We have a bunch of folks who probably doing their taxes at home. We have about 78 people on our Zoom call, so welcome. You guys missed a great meal tonight. Trevor, you want to come on up? So did you guys enjoy your meal from Hank's Bagels? So Hank's Bagels, this is their 4th location in Sherman Oaks, and actually he's going to tell you, but my wife loves Hank's Bagels, big fan of theirs, probably the best bagels in town. So thank you. Here, come over here so that the folks can actually see you. Grab the mic, tell us a little bit about yourself and Hank's Bagel.
Yeah, sure. My name's Trevor. My wife Kelly, who is better at doing this than me, couldn't be here tonight. But we started Hank's in 2019 in Burbank. We live in Burbank. Started our first little shop there in November of 2019, and then COVID shut everything down a few months later. But we made it through, and we actually expanded during those next couple of years, and we opened our 2nd store here in Sherman Oaks. We moved our bakery here in 2020. We opened our first store here in 2021, and then we opened a shop in Calabasas in 2023, and we just opened our 4th store in Brentwood a few months ago in November. And then we separated our bakery from our shop here, and now it's around the corner next to the Starbucks on a lot. I don't know if any of you know where we're at, but we're just over down the street. We make handmade sourdough bagels fresh every day at our bakery here in Sherman Oaks. This is where we make all of our food. And then we have our own little internal delivery that we do to all the stores around town. And what else can I tell you?
That's it. You've got great staff, and thank you for coming to the Sherman Oaks Homeowners Association.
You got it. Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, all right.
And thank you, Jane, our food chair. Okay. So before, especially for you folks at home as well, before I get started with the meeting, actually, can the board come on up here while I give this next announcement so you guys can give your announcement? Then after the board, any elected representatives, you guys can come on up. We're going to keep it short because we want to hear from Monica. So we have a special meeting. If you guys don't know about this yet, I don't know what rock you've been under. But on Cinco de Mayo, on May 5th, we have a special meeting here at this location here. It's by invitation only, so it's for Sherman Oaks Homeowners Association residents. We limited it to 2 of the mayoral candidates. We limited it to, and again, we put an article in the newsletter about this, but it's just Karen Bass and it's just Nithya Raman. I know that there's other candidates and I know that there's other viable candidates, but those are our 2. Those are Sherman Oaks. Those are our electeds. So we wanted to have a real substantive a debate. We wanted to really get the debate on issues. So that's why we had kind of narrowed, that's why we did narrow it down. So because of that, it's not a rally for any candidate to stack the room with their supporters. It's for you guys. It's for you guys at home. Don't hide and come at home because we may not Zoom it. No, we will. But it's only by invitation, so I shouldn't say that. It's by invitation first. Right now, we have a lot of people who've RSVP'd. We have 200 seats in here, that's it. There's not gonna be a meal, it's just gonna be seats, and it's gonna be a good debate. It's gonna be hosted by Phil Sherman from Fox 11. Fox 11. He's done our moderation of debates before. He's very fair, he's very to the point. It's gonna be a good debate. So if you do wanna come, please, you have to be a member of the Sherman Oaks Homeowners Association, and if you're not, then sign up, and then you'll email us, and we'll put your name on the list. So that's it. So come on up with the board.
Hi, Maria Calban. I chair the Legislation Committee and co-vice president of the association. And just a quick update on SB 79. The planning department is now working on the implementation, and we're a little bit concerned because when we talk to them, they're thinking about reducing side and rear setbacks on properties to allow some of these SB 79 projects in our neighborhoods. And we did studies showing that you can get the density 79 allows without doing those setbacks. So we're going to reach out to our council members and make sure everybody's aware, because we're a little concerned about that. But we'll keep you informed, and that's my news.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Anderson. I'm co-vice president with Maria, and I'm also chair of the Transportation Committee. Surprisingly, Metro made a selection on the train they're going to put from the west side to the valley, and it now will run under Van Nuys Boulevard in the valley. And I think it's going to be about 20 years before it's done, if we're lucky, but still, and it won't cost any more than about $40 billion. But ignoring all of that, which they don't have. But ignoring all of that, they're holding a meeting about this, several meetings, but the streamed version is a week from Friday. It's Friday, end of April. And you're going to get an e-blast about it. And there's also a live Sherman Oaks meeting in this room on the Monday after that. And we'll put that out to everybody in an e-blast. But it's going to be good to hear what they have to say. I'm going to go, I'll listen, I'll summarize it and put in the newsletter next month. But in case you want to go, there's that information.
Hi, everyone. Kelly Lynch, your SOHA Beautification Chair. I went and put these around on everybody's table. Next Saturday, April 25th, is our SOHA Shine LA Service Day event. We're going to be cleaning up the sidewalks, the streets, and in conjunction with the mayor's office, we received 35 trees we will be planting along Ventura Boulevard. I know that's huge, right? We should clap for that. Along Ventura Boulevard from Van Nuys, just west of the bid, to Sepulveda Boulevard. So everybody's welcome to come out. We've got great support from all the schools. We're doing this in conjunction, again, with the mayor's office, Sherman Oaks Encino Chamber, VCC, Volunteers Cleaning Communities, the Village at Sherman Oaks, and Paint Sherman Oaks Foundation. We're going to be painting a couple utility boxes. And I just want to give a quick shout out, if my phone will come up quick and I don't want to forget anybody, our super generous sponsors that have come out, our local businesses. Petstraunt's back, Stanley's, the local peasant, Casa Vega's joined us this year, Casa de Cadillac, Senior Resources, Relative Information, Chick-fil-A, Menchie's, Ann Hogue, who's a realtor at Berkshire Hathaway, and then Premier Network, iHeartRadio, and KPL Mortgage and Madison Capital Escrow. So super support from our businesses. Support them and come out and join us. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you, Kelly. So if any of you guys at home or if any of you guys in this meeting have not been to this particular day, it's a lot of fun. And you don't have to dig holes in the ground if you don't want to. There's a whole bunch of different things. Hundreds of people, probably 1,000 people came last time. It was a lot. How many people? Do you have any idea? Oh, 300? It felt like 1,000. Anyway, it was a lot of fun. So again, support the community, support Kelly. It's all volunteers, and anyway, it's a lot of fun. Thank you, Kelly.
And I'll vouch for that being a lot of fun, because I helped when we planted the trees on Ventura Boulevard between Fulton and Sepulveda, so wherever in that stretch we did. And I got to tell you, it was an enjoyable morning to actually plant the trees. And you have a lot of help from the other people who are more professional at it than we are. So don't be afraid if you want to help too. But I'm Jay Weitzler. I'm the secretary of the organization and the liaison with the Buckley School and the Hillside Federation. And I know Sally Sakon is once again attending tonight. So if you have any issues or questions about the Buckley School, Sally will be available for you. Regarding the Hillside Federation, I hope next time to address you a little bit on the Zone 0 regulations, because Hillside is spending a lot of attention to that, and I'm involved with some other organizations like ours in the city that are looking into Zone 0, and we're going to try, I know you all know what basically it is, and we're going to try and get that under a more local system and have a little flexibility so you won't have to spend $50,000 hardening your house when you don't even feel you're in danger. Or if you are, you'll figure out the proper way to do that.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Joan Pellic. Hi, everyone. Joan Pellico, Government Relations for SOHA. First of all, I am so excited that Councilmember Monica Rodriguez is in the house. Could we hear it for her, please? She has always been the voice of reason on City Council, so I just wanted to throw that out. And don't forget to join the 10,000 of us that will be there next Saturday. It's the Million Man War. Anyway, besides the debate in May, which is a Tuesday, May 5th is a Tuesday, it's not a Wednesday, we will be having our regular meeting on May 20th, and your county assessor, Jeff Prang, will be our keynote speaker. And he really does have a lot to tell you because people are a little confused at times at exactly what he does. So please do come and support him. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And in the tradition of the Sherman Oaks Homeowners Association, too, you guys definitely mark your calendar for Jeffrey Prang, because May we always have in celebration of Cinco de Mayo, but not for that event. There's no food for that debate. But our regular thing with Jeffrey Prang, we have Casa Vega will be serving food that night. So go ahead.
Hi, I'm John Eisen. I'm the treasurer of the association.
Wow, that was fast. All right. So we're going to get into Monica. Monica, give us a couple more minutes. In the tradition of Sherman Oaks Homeowners Association, that we have a few candidates. You guys want to come on up here? We have a few candidates. Come on, hurry up, hurry up. So maximum they have these. You guys, if you can all come up here, whoever the candidates are. We have a candidate for governor. We have a candidate for the U.S. Senate. We have a candidate for the controller. So they'll be given 2 minutes just to introduce themselves, and then I will yank them with my big hook if they speak more than 2 minutes. Go.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for graciously hosting me, Mark, the board, Bob, and everyone else. I'm Anna Wilding, and Sherman Oaks is still the best city name in the district. Yes, Bob Sherman's line, Brad Sherman's line. I'm challenging Brad for California 32nd District, the House. Just like you, I've been here long enough to understand deeply the changes that Los Angeles has gone through. I've been here 30 years in spite of my accent, which is from New Zealand, by the way. I've lived in Sherman Oaks, my campaign headquarters are here, and I'm asking for your vote. The stakes are high: housing costs, transport, film jobs going elsewhere, homelessness, airport noise, and toxic sites poisoning our backyard in Santa Susana Field Laboratory. You know, instead we should be excited about the Olympics. I booked a ticket, and the event's being held in Nashville for the Olympics, Tennessee, not LA. What is going on with our city? I'm an award-winning filmmaker, a senior White House correspondent, both Obama and Trump at times. American Small Business League has endorsed me. The Progressive Democrats Club has endorsed me. 2 or 3 charities in this district have endorsed me. And my coalition partner, and this is where it really gets interesting, is in the National Infrastructure Bank, which is a bill that we're pushing to get through the House and Senate next year. Is going to bring $600 billion to California. It's a $5 trillion investment raise. It hasn't been operating. It's similar to what built the Hoover Dam and every other great American dream in those times. They are my formal coalition partner, and we're doing regular Zooms, and we're really pushing that through next year, and it can get money into the state by halfway through next year. We already have a lot of the votes we need. Brad has taken over $1.7 billion from the real estate lobby and individual donors. That's a direct conflict when we have a serious housing crisis right now. Are you? Okay, I will go. Not even halfway through. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Senior White House correspondent Anna Wilding at the ballot box. Join my campaign. Happy to answer any question, anytime about anything. Thank you.
And thank you for running. Zach, I hope you have that kind of energy. Here, come over here, otherwise you won't be in the frame. Okay. There you go.
Hi, everyone. Zach Sokoloff, running for Los Angeles City Controller, running for controller to protect your dollars and to make Los Angeles safe, affordable, prosperous, and inclusive for all. Really quickly, I'd like to describe the role of controller, as I know it is one of the lesser-known positions in the city. The controller is the chief auditor and financial watchdog of Los Angeles. In my view, that really entails three major responsibilities. The first is determining whether your tax dollars are being spent as intended, whether they're delivering the policy outcomes that are intended, and if either of those two questions is no, you need to propose solutions and work collaboratively across city government to deliver results. The controller is neither legislative nor executive, and so in order to effectuate change, you need to partner and problem solve for the people of Los Angeles, because in my view, you guys are tired of reports, you want results. My office, if I'm fortunate enough to be elected, would focus principally on three things. One is making LA more affordable. The second is delivering a high quality of life through improving our basic city services. And the third is promoting economic prosperity, because we have too many companies leaving the state. By way of background, I'm a born and raised Angelino. I'm a former public school teacher. I taught middle and high school Algebra 1. I was on a rent stabilization commission, and for the last 10 years, I've been working to invest in the future of our entertainment industry, which has been one of the hardest hit in Los Angeles. I'm also the only Democrat running for this office. I'm endorsed by the LA County Democratic Party. I'm endorsed by Senator Adam Schiff. I'm endorsed by the wonderful Councilmember Monica Rodriguez. And I'm very proud to be endorsed by a broad coalition of labor unions as well. It would be an amazing honor to have the support of the folks in this room. Please tell your friends, spread the word about our campaign. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak. Zach Sokoloff, running for City Controller.
Hey, Zach, you can clap. So you say you're the only Democrat. Isn't there a Democrat currently in office that's also...
So the incumbent is not a Democrat. The incumbent left the Democratic Party right after being elected and is now a member of the Green Party. He's very closely aligned with the DSA, with the socialists in the city, and so I'm the only Democrat in the race.
Got it. Thank you for clarifying that. Okay. Elaine? Ladies and gentlemen, the next governor of California.
Hello, Sherman Oaks. Hi, Monica. You have the best blow dry on City Council. I'm Elaine Colati. I've been in California since 1991, raised 3 children here, and opened up a lot of business. I am a no party preference. And for any of you who do not know what that is, it is not a Democrat and not a Republican. While I'm a lifelong Democrat, I have left my party. I have left my party for the same reason 41% of Californians have done the same. We have not raised the bar on the Republican Party beyond 24%. There are only 24% registered Republicans in California. This is why Chad Bianco and Steve Hilton cannot get out of the teens. I want to encourage everyone to think about what's happening in California. At the moment, we have a middle party that is completely unrepresented, and this is not just California, this is a trend across America. And in part, that is because some of us feel that our party has failed us. In California, this is absolutely true. And this begins with the Democratic Party. All of you here in Sherman Oaks are subject to SB 79. As you know, SB 79 is an unfunded mandate. It would be neglectful for me not to tell you that California owes $2 billion in unfunded mandates across cities in California. This bill is 15 years old. These mandates will likely not be funded. As governor, I plan to stand in the way of all unfunded mandates because they create a rift between our city councils and our mayors and the constituents that vote them into council and into positions. This is an ongoing problem. We do need housing in transit districts, but we mustn't put the transit district in after the fact, especially in a town that's burned down. That's not fair. That's called ripping the rug. Only a candidate in the middle who is not funded by special interest and NGOs and large donors can say these truths. We need tort reform in California. California has, this is a remarkable truth, 50% of businesses in California are in litigation. If you open a business in California, you stand a more than 90% chance of being in litigation. Every single one of you pays something called tort tax. Tort tax is a tax that is in your insurance and your daily operations because lawyers are so expensive in California. And if you live in Beverly Hills or Brentwood or someplace where the real estate is insane, you pay $15,000 a year. So this is not something that a Democrat or a Republican will talk about. They will not talk about immigration reform. I will. And you know what they won't talk about? Bradley Burns tax. All of you are being ripped off every day. Bradley Burns tax is your 1% of tax that is supposed to go back to you for every single retail sale. This is millions and millions of dollars to cities across California. But when online sales started happening, they couldn't figure it out. Someone caught it in 2019. Our governor, Gavin Newsom, vetoed the bill because he said it would be too much work for Amazon to figure it out. Listen, it is not 28%. That is not true. It is closer to 65 to 70%. If you do not believe me, ask everyone you know how much they buy online. If they tell you it's 28%, I'll eat my hat. I'm Elaine Colati, I'm an NPP. I will talk about anything you want to talk about. I'm not backed by big donors and special interests or Sherman Oaks.
Thank you. Thank you, and good luck to all of you guys, and thank you for running. Monica, come on up. So we are very fortunate to have Monica here. Her council district is in the North Valley, as you guys know, she's a force, and Joan was not.
And apparently have an incredible blowout.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
It's the rumor going around.
Yeah.
If you guys pay attention to the city council, Vahid, you didn't come up when I asked for electeds. Oh, I'm so sorry. There are others. I'm sorry.
All right.
No, sit here.
Okay.
With that blowjob, it's a great. You have to sit here.
all
Makes me
good.
look good. Come on, Vahid, and anyone. If there's any other
Everyone
elected,
on Zoom can enjoy
any
my
elected
blowout.
other representatives. Thank you, Joan. You guys have to stand right here, though, in between us.
Oh.
I'm sorry. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Well, I actually have not been here before, but you may be familiar with Katie Abrams. She's from Supervisor Horvath's office. She has now gone off to law school. She'll start in the fall. So I've been with the office for a little bit, but now I'm covering her territory, so I'll be here from now on. So thanks for having me. A couple brief updates. I was told to make it brief, so I'm going to speed through this. So on March 26th, the Board of Supervisors approved a motion from Supervisor Horvath to analyze the potential economic impacts of the proposed Warner Brothers Discovery Paramount Skydance global merger and advance efforts to protect the region's entertainment workforce. So the motion includes the following directives. In collaboration with our Department of Economic Opportunity and our CEO's office and any relevant county departments, we will conduct a comprehensive economic impact analysis of the proposed Warner Brothers acquisition, including effects on direct, indirect, and induced employment. The DEO will also develop workforce strategies, including job training and placement programs to support and retain entertainment industry workers in our community. This past month, the Metro Board of Directors also took a major step by voting to advance the K-Line Northern Extension. The 9.7-mile extension will connect the South Bay to Inglewood and LAX through Crenshaw, Mid-City, and the Fairfax District to West Hollywood, Hollywood, and the Hollywood Bowl. Not only does it improve mobility, but the project is projected to create more than 10,000 union construction jobs, generate $9.7 billion in union wages, and generate over $22 billion in economic activity for LA County. And my last update was last week, our Board of Supervisors advanced a motion from Supervisor Horvath and Catherine Barger to strengthen oversight and enforcement against fraud in the home health and hospice industry that we've been seeing around to protect our vulnerable residents and restore trust in our critical healthcare services. The motion directs our Department of Public Health to report back with recommendations to improve coordination between local, state, and federal agencies in investigating and enforcing fraud cases. It will also call on the county to formally urge the state of California and the federal government to strengthen oversight, increase enforcement efforts, and improve accountability for accrediting organizations responsible for monitoring a majority of the providers here in California.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
All right. Vahid?
All right, thank you, and my apologies to the council member for interrupting your time. Vahid Korsan, Deputy Mayor of Community Engagement for Mayor Bass. I'll be even briefer than Paige. Our area rep for this area is on leave through mid-June, so I just wanted to come by and say hello. Otherwise, Matt would stop talking to me. My cell phone number, write it down, 818-437-0459. It's not a ploy. You text me, I will respond eventually. I'd like to be known as the most accessible mayor's office staffer for any of you. So as Matt knows, I tried my best. We only had really 2 announcements that I just wanted to make sure you're aware of. One includes the council member. Just a few weeks ago, the mayor and the council member unveiled a plan to convert or install 60,000 solar streetlights as a way, this tackles the copper wire theft issue, as well as making sure the city goes to solar energy and preserving the environment. Big kudos to the council member who has been a champion of better efficiency from Public Works and our city departments, and her partnering with the mayor was a big reason why we went to Silmar to Pacoima to announce it. Second announcement, 3, Kelly already announced our Shine LA next week. Hope to see some of you there. And after that, the last announcement, if you're not aware, the mayor kind of cleared her calendar this week because she was up till 2 a.m. yesterday to work out the strike with LAUSD and SEIU 99. So if you're wondering how that came about, she did it, and you can read some articles about that as well. But again, my cell phone number, 818-437-0459. Reach out. I'm here to help. Hopefully be more present until Nico or another area rep is back in place by June. Thank you.
Thank you, Vahid. And he does return phone calls. So if you do have issues and you're not getting help from the office that you're supposed to get help from, call Vahid and you will get success. Vahid, before you leave, and Paige, before you leave, you guys both talked about, or a big topic is, the Warner issue, which you brought up. But there's a bigger issue that's happening in this district, which is the CBS Radford lot. Nobody's talking about that. Nobody's doing anything about that. And you guys better get your act together and start talking to some of these other entertainment companies. That's for sale right now for land value, okay? Those are good jobs in the Southeast Valley. Those are amazing jobs that have the city and the state and the county has been derelict in keeping an eye on the ball, and all those entertainment jobs have gone out. So while you're talking to Warner Brothers, while you're talking to Netflix, put some pressure to put some, there's sound stages, there's offices, there's good workers, there's a hell of a lot of people that rely on that, including all the businesses around that area. And so don't forget about CBS Radford Studio. It's a great piece of real estate that should not be condos, should not be private homes.
Well done. Good evening, all. I'm Howard Katchen. I'm the president of the Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council. We meet here in this very room the second Monday of every month at 6:30 p.m. What is the Neighborhood Council? The Neighborhood Council, essentially, we are deemed to be an entree into city government, as well as we advise and consult city government, all the way from the council office, all the way through the departments, agencies, bureaus, all the way up to the mayor. So we deal with issues, we take positions on various council files and other matters affecting the Sherman Oaks community. All of you are welcome. All of our meetings are open to the public, whether they're virtual or in person. And at our next meeting, our board and community meeting on May 11th at 6:30, we will have as our guest Supervisor Horvath. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Howard.
Thank you.
Okay, so Monica, you have not, it's okay if I call you Monica?
Of course.
Okay. We had one council member take offense, or somebody in the audience took offense because I did not call them by council member something. So Monica's okay?
It's okay.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we've got some questions from the audience, and we've got some questions that were emailed into us, and it's just you and I, and it's between two ferns, and it's kind of easy. We have always softball questions, so.
I'm sure. This group is really well known for softball questions.
That's us.
Yes.
So tell us about you, what makes you tick, what's your...
Yes. Well, I'll be as quick as I can. Hi, everyone. It's wonderful to be here with all of you. You're an institution more than a homeowners association. I've known about SOHA since I was a staff member for Mayor Richard Reardon back in the 90s. But Monica Rodriguez, raised in the Northeast San Fernando Valley, proudly represent the district I've called home my entire life. And what motivated me to get involved in local government was I was a senior at San Fernando High School when the LA riots broke out. I am the daughter of immigrants. My father was one of the first Latino firefighters on the LA City Fire Department after the adoption of the consent decree. He was on duty the night the LA riots broke out. And I have to remind everybody, that was a time when we didn't have Facebook, nor did we have cell phones. So my mom and my sister and I were at home just waiting for that phone call to find out what was going on as we were watching the LA riots unfold live on television. But that moment literally changed my life for so many reasons. Number one, my father's fire truck was shot up by several rounds of a semi-automatic. He was nearly hit. But that moment, watching business owners in Koreatown having to fight to protect their own businesses, watching innocent victims being pulled from their vehicles, getting beat up, all of those things. I said, our city is broken and I'm gonna be the one to change it. And it was my senior year of high school, and I just became wholly focused on how do I fight to protect and change my city? And make sure that communities that are like mine don't have to suffer the consequences of communities like Koreatown. Because I grew up in an area that historically was not afforded the same type of investments and support that so many other parts of the city were receiving. And so I just became focused. I go to Occidental College. After my second year at Oxy, I go knock on the door of a city councilman by the name of Mike Hernandez, and I said, hey, I'd like a job. He said, I'll give you an internship for the summer. And I just became focused on figuring out, how does local government work and how can I be an agent of change? And it was important for me to learn how to do that, because so many people sadly run for office without any understanding of how government functions. You don't elect people to tell you what they can't do. You elect people to figure out how to solve the problems. And so I had the benefit and the privilege of working at a very early age. I was 20 years old. Everybody was my elder. And it was at a time when John Ferraro was in office. Tom LaBonge was one of my mentors when I worked for Mayor Reardon. And so all of those experiences were about helping me understand how government works and how to be effective and make it work for the people. I went on from there to go work for Caprice Young, who was at the time president of the school board, and then subsequently went to work for the California Association of Realtors, running their Affordable Housing Trust Fund. Because I thought it was important for me to learn about how to make the economy work, how to make housing more affordable, because I was a young mother and wife and building my own life as a young person. I wanted to figure out how to best be an effective policy maker. So I worked, I tell people often that my career was a lot like a choral fellowship with better pay. But I had a great experience of working with some great people, including Joan Pellico when she worked for Paul. And it was just about learning how to be effective and showing up and be a problem solver. And so everything in my career has been about, how do I figure out, I always say that I also was raised by the original MacGyver. My dad could solve anything, fix anything. But it was that experience that brought me to City Hall and made me focused on, how do I make things better for my community? How do I make things better for my city? And ever since I was elected, I first ran in 2007 against Richard Alarcon. I lost narrowly, but I stayed engaged in my community. And it was in 2013 when Eric Garcetti was elected that he asked me to be part of his administration. I was appointed to the Board of Public Works, which I love because that is the bread and butter of city service. You want to talk about the biggest problems that everyone faces that they're most frustrated by? It's public works issues. And so working on so many of those issues was one of the greatest opportunities of my career, one of the best jobs. And when my predecessor in the 7th District chose not to run for re-election, I then was afforded the opportunity to run. I ran in the most crowded primary in the city's history. I had 19 other opponents, another woman named Monica, but thankfully I prevailed, and it's been the best. It's been the best 8+ years of my career. It's one of the greatest privileges of my life to serve on the city council, to serve this city. and to be a voice, not just for my own district, but for everyone who wants to see LA advance, make sure that businesses are supported where they need them, and to hopefully just be the voice of reason in the room when decisions are being made.
Well, thank you. And again, you mentored through, or you had your jobs through some really great, some of the greats. Dick Reardon was a great inspiration to the city and a great person to work with.
Yes.
Anyway, you're, and again, to say that, introducing you early on as a force, you truly are. And again, you obviously you took some notes as you went along the way. So what are your, I know you're not running for election right now.
I am.
No, in 2 years.
No, I'm running for re-election right now. So I'm running unopposed.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, oh, okay.
I'm the only.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Scared them all off.
So this will be your last term.
I'm going into my.
Okay, I thought you were on the odd. Okay.
No.
Okay. Okay.
No.
Good. So after your next 4 years.
Yes.
What then? What are you looking at?
Well, I don't want to. You can't give away the plot.
Well, you'd like to stay in politics?
I would love to stay in politics. I would love to continue to be of service to the people in whatever area they saw me fit. And if there's anything that I would like the opportunity to do, is to continue to demonstrate what my leadership looks like in the role that I currently have. Sadly, you see so many people trying to ascend to other roles when they have failed to do the job that they currently have.
Yeah.
That's not me. That's not been me. So I think what's really important is to be an effective leader with the role that you have. The idea that you cannot accomplish certain things. We are in one of the most powerful roles, and I don't pretend that I can do it all, but I've done a hell of a lot, and I'm proud of it. In my tenure in office, I've secured well over $300 million of between city and non-city resources to invest in improving infrastructure in my district. When people say they can't fix sidewalks, I created a solution to repair sidewalks. I created the first of its kind apprenticeship program that is actually teaching young people in my district how to do construction jobs, get paid to learn, and their laboratory is fixing the broken sidewalks in my district. We've done over 4 miles of sidewalk repair in my district, but I've also done over 36 locations. We've got more on the horizon with a final cohort with the LA Conservation Corps and young people from my district that are going to be repairing more sidewalks. But what I'm most proud of, and I want to thank Mayor Bass, because we've developed a great partnership, not just in street lights, but helping to fix this infrastructure, is that we're going to be expanding this effort to now repair one of the greatest liabilities that we have in the city is our broken sidewalks, where we're going to expand this sidewalk repair program and hire more young people from across the city to help repair our Olympic venues. So we're about to launch that initiative. So you're the first to know about it.
So most of the questions that we have tonight are focused on, take a guess.
Homelessness?
Yes, homelessness. So you are a go-getter, you are a problem solver.
Yes.
How many people in your district in 8 years have you put into permanent housing?
Oh gosh. So over 500. We've reduced the unhoused population by half. So I had, when I got elected, we had a homeless count that had over 1,000, just over 1,000 that were unsheltered homeless population. In my tenure, I have opened up 500, both interim and permanent supportive housing locations, but we have also housed over 500. Includes one venue, which was, again, it was expensive, but it was one of the only city-owned properties that we had, which is home to the homeless veterans in my district overlooking Hanson Dam. And that was a facility that was expensive because of the topography. It was on the hillside. No one could develop on that property because it was on a hillside. It was very expensive. But now it's housing veterans. So it's between those initiatives, and I have a facility that houses just families, because what the shortfall and the shortcomings, I believe, in so much of the housing solutions is they're constantly addressing the single unit needs of individuals. Well, the reality is you're finding a lot more families that are falling into homelessness as well. So I have a facility that is dedicated for entire families.
So I know that I knew the answer before I asked the question.
Of course you did.
So there's 15 council districts.
Correct.
There's about 70,000 homeless people. So you've put 500 into permanent housing, in addition to reducing your homeless population by about half. So if you multiplied that times 15, if the other council districts kind of worked in lockstep with what you were doing or what you have done, wouldn't that make a huge dent in the homeless crisis with the billions and billions of dollars that the city gets or has or had?
Absolutely.
So what's the solution? I know you're only responsible for your district. So what's the solution? What's wrong with this picture, and what's the fix?
So I don't ever approach my job as I'm only responsible for my district. I'm a fiduciary of the city. I'm a protector of your taxpayer dollars as well. And it's why you know me as being such a fierce advocate and a strong voice on these issues, because when I see misuse of public funds, I call it out. I didn't realize that was such a big deal or such a hot button issue that everyone's like, why is she saying those things out loud? Because that's what I was elected to do. I wasn't elected to go along to get along on these issues and pretend that I don't see misuse of public funds. And so I'm determined. The reason why I came here was I wanted to make it better. And I wasn't going to sit and idle and watch people make bad decisions with taxpayer money. I created a RV to home pilot because one of the biggest things we saw after COVID was the explosion of RV homelessness and encampments. And let's be honest, in the San Fernando Valley with our wide streets, we were the fastest growing population of RV encampments. 22% increase just past the pandemic of RV homeless encampments. In my district, I piloted an RV to home pilot, which not just houses the individuals that are in RVs. We take them and we destroy the RVs so they don't pop up in someone else's neighborhood. We have destroyed over 160 RVs and housed 344 individuals just with that program. And we're continuing to do that work. And that has been the model that is now adopted by the City Council to expand that citywide. I'm currently working with Mayor Bass so that we can model this, because it's about cost efficiencies. What we house individuals, leveraging the existing housing stock, helping to stabilize individuals, many of whom are capable with a small subsidy to be able to live independently, that's what we're working on. And that has been the model for the success of my program, which it started with a $350,000 grant from the Hilton Foundation. I've subsequently secured a $5 million encampment resolution grant from the state of California to expand it. I am leveraging everything to make the best possible use of the taxpayer dollars that deliver the best results. And so think about what over 150 RVs gone looks like. I had rows of RVs in my district and they're now gone. So this work is ongoing. I look forward to doing that work with my colleagues to expand it across the city. But more importantly, it's about making sure that entities that are getting the money to do this work aren't taking it without the metrics and the results. We measure everything that we do in my district because I keep the receipts. I keep the receipts on everything. Because if we spend all the money on these issues, then that's why the streets don't get repaired. That's why the sidewalks don't get repaired. That's why everything else that we're talking about, we have to be better, we have to be more efficient with our taxpayer dollars.
So the question, though, was, I want to go back to that as far as the long-term vision for Los Angeles. I've been in Los Angeles, I've been in the San Fernando Valley, I've been in Sherman Oaks for 67 years, okay? The San Fernando Valley and Los Angeles has never been in worse shape. Never been in worse shape. I don't care what street you live on, I don't care what street you drive on, I don't see, the businesses are fleeing. The city is wasting billions and billions of dollars. There's $3 billion in unaccounted funds that was supposed to be sent for homeless housing that is unaccounted. What is this? What is the short term? What is the solution for the unhoused in Los Angeles? And it's not just building homes, because
No, it's not. It's not just building homes. And it's not. I will tell you. So your council member has been the chair of the Homeless and Housing Committee. I served on that committee since I was first elected in 2017 until I was removed, because I guess I asked too many questions. But I advanced a number of reforms on this issue. I advanced the reform for us to pull out from LAHSA. I advanced the reform for us to do direct contracting with the local nonprofit organizations that were using LAHSA as an intermediary to obstruct giving us the actual data for us to measure more effectively the work that they were doing and how they were spending your taxpayer dollars. And unfortunately, the chair of the committee sat on my motions to ask and investigate a lot of those questions for well over a year. It's funny how some of those things are now a talking point, and that's part of a plan. They say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. So I think, those are issues that I think still need and require advancement. We have to have a conversation around LAHSA. That still has not happened. In fact, after Ms. Rahman scheduled my motion, it's been, I think now, 6 to 8 weeks since we first heard that in the committee. There's been no action on it. So I'd love to think I'm Wonder Woman, I can do it all, but I can't make every legislative change that needs to happen. It needs to stop being obstructed so that we can move the needle and actually fix this broken system. But that hasn't happened. So invite your support so that we can keep moving that needle, because there's a lot of reform that needs to happen, but we need people to have the political will to do it, and not with empty words and empty rhetoric about what they'll change once they get a promotion. This is about the work that the people of the city deserve right now.
So one of the questions is from Frank, and as part of Councilmember Rahman's campaign tactics running for mayor, or campaign, I don't want to say tactics, but she has criticized the mayor for her failures on homeless crisis. But many believe that the city council's homeless czar, Ms. Rahman, is the one at greater fault. So you're saying that, I mean, she has been in charge of the committee advancing, so the lack of, why would a chair of the homeless committee not want to investigate where the $3 billion is? Why wouldn't the chair of the homeless not want to build and create, what's the motivation? I don't get it. I don't understand.
You want me to provide insight on why Ms. Rahman hasn't done her job? I don't know.
Well, I'm not, I don't want, I want to be, I don't want to.
So, I mean, again, I just wanted to clarify. So I don't know what to tell you. It's been frustrating for me. Why did I have to publicly call out the fact that I literally had a daily countdown? I would say it's been now 250 days. It hasn't been scheduled. It's been now 316 days. The item hasn't been scheduled. You can't talk to me about your commitment and sense of urgency to address this issue and then not schedule the conversation. So I don't know who you're trying to convince, but that doesn't look like urgency to me when you sit on something that for well over a year. And what bothers me is that it's, again, when you're burning the clock and you're burning the money by not having hard conversations. Listen, this isn't easy. They're not easy conversations. They're difficult conversations. There are trade-offs that need to be made. But ignoring the conversation, ignoring it, not making it, stewing in decision isn't solving the problem. And if you care about helping to get these people off the street, then you would act with greater urgency and greater determination to make sure that you could maximize the city resources to make a marked improvement on it.
Okay, I'm going to move off of homeless because there's a couple other issues.
Okay.
And I just in the spirit of being fair, I'm going to ask a question that was supplied as well. That was something you publicly came out about Karen Bass on, and that was at the time of the Palisades fire, you publicly accused the mayor's administration of using Crowley as the scapegoat. So in late 2025, you publicly and colorfully slammed Bass for that. Do you still support that? I know you were an early supporter of Karen Bass's, and again, I just want to give some fair time. I mean, what's your thoughts on that? And
sure, I still believe Chief Crowley was not given a fair shot in that moment. In that moment, I never begrudged the mayor in her authority to hire and fire general managers. That was clear in the charter, and it's still clear today. Just as it was clear that as part of the independent legislative body, we had an opportunity to evaluate the merits of the appeal that Chief Crowley made. That being said, I still believe that the decisions and the rationale behind what prompted Chief Crowley's dismissal were not based, they were meritless, in my opinion. If you decide we can't work together, I'm okay with that. We can't work together. As an executive, with her, she has the right to hire and fire general managers. As an executive, if you say we cannot work together, I do not begrudge the mayor for saying, I can't work with you, you gotta go. The problem is the reasons that were cited, in my opinion, were not legitimate, in my opinion, based on the facts as I knew them. And so in fairness, that's what my beef was. And I said that very clearly in Chief Crowley's appeal. If you have differences with a general manager and you are unable to work with them, that is a big problem as an executive. So I do not begrudge the mayor that, but I did have a problem with the recited reasons that, to the facts as I knew them and still know them today, I didn't find that the rationale in the case that was made.
Okay. So Maria Calvin, Elaine had brought this up, the candidate for governor had brought up SB 79. Yes. And unfortunately, our city council was asleep at the wheel and did not lobby. They did not lobby the state the way that the United Neighbors and that folks wanted them to go ahead and do. However,
we did.
Little late. Okay, that's what I'm saying, asleep at the wheel. I didn't say you didn't wake up. You woke up, but it was a little late. I'm not saying you, I'm saying city council, and maybe you. However, SB 79 was passed by one vote in the state, and there is Maria wants to know, for the folks that are going to be impacted by a up to six-story unit right next to their house that they paid dearly for whenever, and their property values will go down. I'm a real estate agent in the area, have been for a long time, and if there's a six-story apartment building, if there's a two-story McMansion next to a home that blocks the sunlight and it brings down the value of the house next door. So Maria's question is, don't you think it would be right for the city of Los Angeles to send out a letter to everybody in those affected areas of what possibly could happen as a notification? Because most of the people that she has spoken with and most of the folks that we have spoken with have no idea what's coming down the line. So
So, one of my colleagues actually brought the item up and it was going to cost, in order to notify everybody in each of those areas, it would have required, I think, a $650,000 expenditure. And when we're in the fiscal circumstance that we're in, that's a big pill to swallow right now. I said, we have discretionary money that could certainly notify if a council member was concerned. There's nothing that prohibits us from being able to notify our constituents in the affected areas. I will tell you, in my district, long before SB 79 came about, because of the light rail coming into the Van Nuys corridor into Pacoima, I have been working on a transit-oriented development plan with planning in my community for the last, several years. And we've been working on all of that. So when you say, oh, we were asleep, we were actually ahead of the wheel. We weren't asleep at it. In my district, we were. Because we understand the need to maximize the densities in areas along transit corridors. What SB 79 got wrong, in my opinion, was some of the language that it included was even on planned corridors. Well, sadly, what ends up happening because of Metro, sometimes those plans never materialize, and so you're maximizing densities in areas where then you're leaving people in the lurch without the accessible transit that they need to make it all viable and connect. And so those were some of the challenges that I had. Also because some of the areas of first-time home buyers and affordability still exist in my district, in parts of the Northeast San Fernando Valley that just don't exist in many other parts of the city. And so I understand the balance of all those things. So I encouraged my colleagues to be able to, yes, there's an opportunity for them to communicate to those areas that are going to be affected using their discretionary dollars to be able to disseminate that information.
It's going to affect every council district, SB 79. Some districts more than others. Okay, but if you take $600,000 or $600,000, that sounds like a lot of money. But when you're talking about $1 billion in debt, it's a very little amount of money. But it's also, if you divide that by 15, it's about $40,000 per district.
Which we have in discretionary funds, so that's why I encourage my colleagues to use it.
Exactly. So why isn't there a citywide? The city continues to be reactive. They go after all these entertainment companies after the train left the station 10 years ago. Come back. We've got these incentives now. No, that's stupid. It's gone. It's not coming back. Where are the new industries coming? But again, if they don't notify folks, you don't think that these hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of people, when these six-story start popping up, you don't think there's going to be lawsuits? You don't think there's going to be backlash? You don't think there's going to be?
No, I mean, we talked about all the lawsuits that happen with businesses. Lawsuits, as you know, happen with great regularity. But I think, again, looking at the dynamics that we're in right now, I have colleagues that could immediately do that notification if they wanted to into their community. We're actively already doing that in my districts, in the parts of my district that are affected, because we're working on these transit-oriented plans. Many parts of the city are already doing that. This is a moment where we have to, I expect my colleagues to be able to communicate with their districts and to be able to do that. And to your point, you did the simple math. They've got that money to be able to send that notification out. So this is not a heavy lift. We don't have to wait to find money in the budget. $650,000 when you have a council member that has discretionary funds and the ability to do that communication it's not a heavy lift. So it's something that they're capable of doing, and I think they can and should do.
Okay, so okay. So, but again, so is it up to each council district, like, to go to there, or is it a city, shouldn't there be a citywide policy? Because SB 79 is a citywide, it's a statewide.
It's a statewide.
Right. So and there's discretionary money with the county, there's, with the state leaders, there's, it's not a lot of money, but, I bet you, some of the folks in this room are still confused by what SB 79 is. And, when that tall building goes up next to them, they're going to know what SB 79 is. And they're going to say, why wasn't I included in this conversation? So, and Senator Wiener and all the rest of those guys, they're going to be.
They'll be in DC by then.
Exactly.
So I understand, and I'll be honest, I don't believe, not that I've never not, but it's not like you getting that notification is going to answer all your questions anyway. So
it's going to start a conversation.
Of course it'll start a conversation.
And not a happy conversation.
Well, and so my colleagues, some of the individuals were like, no changes, go forward, yes, bless SB 79, right? Everybody was a difference of opinion on that, as you know. So I think the reality is that, yes, it can be the starting point of a conversation, but each neighborhood and each district is going to be affected differently. But you know that the important part of that conversation is for that elected representative to engage with their constituents on the implications and the impact of that, to have a hyper-local conversation around it, and can't hide from it. And by the way, they can own what their role was in those moments. My staff and I were deep in conversation with the legislators in my area about amendments, and even not in my area. I was talking to Rick Saber. I was having conversations with a number of legislators and California YIMBY, seeking the amendments that would help to make sure that we protected a lot of those areas. Because I also understood the implications of the developments that would be 6 stories next to a single family home in a community like Pacoima. I know communities like Arleta, where I grew up, are going to be hardest hit because of their proximity to some of the transit hubs that are coming. So there is an opportunity and a necessity to engage in those conversations with those residents, and I know that's important, but it's important it's going to be important to have forums like this to help explain it to people, because it's not going to be addressed in a single mailer, that's for sure.
Okay. So I have a question for you. You had brought up earlier as far as tort reform, or she had brought that up, but you had talked about, lawsuits. So do you believe that tort reform should be looked at?
I think we're having, look, I know I'm pretty well documented as being a big supporter of local restaurants and here in the city of Los Angeles, and I know how many individuals continue to be saddled with a number of lawsuits. People are exposed by this with regularity.
So just like homelessness, there is a solution. It's a hard decision. It's a hard solution, but it has to be addressed one spoke at a time as far as dealing with the different types of mental health, drug addiction, and they all don't go into the same box. But no one's creating a box for this or creating a box for that. But the tort reform, every single ad, every single billboard is these billboard attorneys, with, were you injured at work? Were you, did the person look at you the wrong way? Did you quit your job 7 years ago and, now have a sunburn? These billboard attorneys, the largest lobbying group in California today is trial attorneys, okay? When I grew up as a kid here in Los Angeles, the commercials that were out there were Truckmaster School of Trucking, Secretarial School, being a business person. It was about creating a real job, not suing somebody for a few nickels and dimes so the billboard attorneys can afford some more ads or some more sponsorships of the Lakers. So businesses are leaving California like they've never left, never before. No one's coming into California and saying, hey, what a great opportunity to open up a big business. So all these homes that, all these taxes and all these, if tort reform doesn't happen in California, the businesses can't afford it anymore. They can't afford it anymore. The city of Los Angeles should have a new business czar, should have and address these issues. That's the future of Los Angeles, or the future of Los Angeles is a bankrupt Los Angeles. So, any thoughts on that?
Well, I don't disagree with you. When I worked for Mayor Reardon, we had the business team that was instrumental in helping to shepherd in a lot new business investments coming into Los Angeles, making sure that they were bringing in quality middle-class jobs. And we have continued to see this erosion of a lot of industry in the city. You obviously indicated the struggles that we're facing with the film industry. Although, you know, I have a counterbalance, and I'm glad you brought up the Radford as a perfect conversation. I've got a studio, Silmar Studios, which is just opening up in my district, which are going to be doing a lot of in-studio production that they're taking actually in some part from NBC. So there's a lot of moving parts, and I appreciated you talking about Radford, because we also can't lose some of the spaces that we have that are critical job creators. Everything can't be housing either. You can't continue to run a city without quality jobs. You have to have a balance of both. You need to have jobs and housing. It's not one or the other. And this idea that there's a lot of environments that are fostered in the city with policies that are actually punitive to businesses operating in the city of Los Angeles. And there has to be a balance to all of those things. You know, I took some very difficult votes. I'm kind of known for that. I was widely, you know, repeated my quote in my concerns about the Olympic wage in the pursuit of increasing all of the minimum wage as a result of the Olympics coming to the city. And I cautioned, based on concern, that we would have the best paid unemployed workforce in the country. And the reason why is because we just saw, for example, Checkers, the hotel downtown, right across from the Biltmore, valued at $22 million, just sold for $8 million. So we have a situation, we have a looming challenge and crisis on our hands. And for me, it's important to be, it's not, I don't believe it's just that one. You said it's one spoke. It is one spoke. It is one of many spokes. Right. But, you know, we can't keep making the choice between shooting ourselves in the foot and shooting ourselves in the face.
Well, I love the fact that what you said, we're going to have the best, or whatever you said about
best paid unemployed.
Best paid unemployed. Yeah. And you know, it's so interesting. You see Thomas Stiver's ads about, you know, why is housing so expensive? Well, because the cost of insurance is, if you can get it, is absolutely ridiculous, because the legislators were asleep at the wheel and allowed the insurance industry to leave California, because our state and our city, you know, created these higher paying unemployment minimums, which meant everything else. So the cost, you know, when certain people say, why can Texas build houses cheaper than California? Real simple. Their minimum wage is not as expensive as ours. Their utility bills aren't expensive as ours. Their insurance rates are, their workman's compensation. So the cost of construction is a lot less. And guess what? They also have a lot more land. That's, you know, they stopped making land here in Los Angeles a long time ago.
Well, like everything, time is money too.
Yeah.
If the process of getting permits and getting entitlements and getting electricity turned on, one of the things that I was really, I'm really proud of along the Van Nuys corridor is, you know, one of the biggest obstructions to affordability in the housing development is the cost of increasing the DWP power load in those areas when you're building. So again, this idea, by the way, this idea that everyone's going to get 6 stories, the DWP, the load capacity for some of these areas is just the infrastructure is so old. It would require that developer to now invest in helping to build up the capacity of that power load. So let me just give you an example. After the Hearst fire, so on January 7th, there was not just the Palisades, it was the Hearst fire. There were multiple fires. I had the Hearst fire in my district. The Hearst fire was in Silmar, but Pacoima was out of power for nearly a week because of just the age of the grid and how old it is. So I got to give credit where credit is due. The former general manager of the Department of Water and Power, Janice Quinones, she took on a fight for me with Metro that didn't want to underground the utilities along the light rail corridor. Well, let me tell you why that's important. She fought. She basically drew the line and she's like, no, I'm holding this line. You're not going to get there without my electricity so that we can power up this area. my ability to build more dense housing solutions along that corridor is now going to be more accessible and more incented to develop in that area, not just because of the change in the zoning, but because I'm going to now have the load capacity to support it, that someone who develops in that area won't have to bear the cost of. And that is, again, it's not, there's so many more things that go into the cost of the housing development. Yeah. And that's one of the solutions that I'm actually doing in my district, and I'm grateful for Janice for helping me fight for that, because I'm desperate to help create, we all are desperate to create more affordable housing. Seniors are the fastest growing populations falling into homelessness. We see more and more families that are unable to make it. I'm here to pilot and create those solutions, but I know that it's more than just changing the zoning that's going to help us get there. And so we need to invest in an infrastructure that is ready to receive that development as well, and that will incent developers to actually build that quality housing in our neighborhoods.
One last question on a really easy topic, and
Can't wait.
what it is. Why are you guys laughing at me? Hi, Dee. Long time. So we had a couple questions about something that's happening in, I think, 800 and something days, the Olympics. You know, there's talk about the affordability of tickets. There's talk about the, you know, whether we can actually have the proper security. There's proper, you know. What's your take? It's a couple years away, and what's your take on the Olympics?
So if unless you're under a rock, you've heard that I've been a little critical of some of the dynamics with LA 28. One of my concerns is making sure that small businesses are able to compete and be part of the procurement process with LA 28. And I have been, just to borrow your word, a force in making sure that LA businesses get a fair shot at being able to compete for some of those contracts, and have been pushing LA 28 on that. So we had a pretty contentious meeting just Tuesday on that issue. And so we'll just call it a work in progress, because it's not there yet, or at least I'm not happy with it. As I coined the phrase there, I said it's like a new Olympiad for LA 28 to figure out how not to use LA businesses. But that is important. I think to make sure when that is important, making sure that we maximize whatever the federal government's commitment is to help fund and cover the cost of security is critically important. I don't want taxpayers to be left holding the bag. And so not only did I communicate that message very clearly to LA 28, I actually introduced a motion as well for the purposes of considering to enshrine that in the charter. So I just introduced that motion on Tuesday. But more of this is just about making sure that LA 28 knows that we mean business, and I'm going to be fierce in protecting taxpayers on that front.
So protecting taxpayers, there's been a lot of talk the last couple of days about the ticket prices. The average ticket price is $200, and it sounds like a lot of money. Have you gone to the movies lately? Okay, have you gone to a concert lately? So I understand that the Olympic Committee has a responsibility to not put the city of Los Angeles in financial harm, but now they're being criticized by, and again, I don't know all this, but I know that there's a limited amount of tickets for every event. So if you make every ticket $28, okay, and every Tom, Dick, and Harry goes and buys a $28 ticket, guess what's going to happen the next day on StubHub? Right. And so that $28 or that $200 that could have gone to the, so a few people would make some money on scalping the tickets, and the Olympic Committee would be upside down. So again, I'm not I'm not an expert at this at all, but I know everything is expensive. Concerts, entertainment, and you're never going to have an Olympic where everybody is going to be able to afford to go. So if there's a demand and somebody's willing to pay it, why is that? Why is there so much press on that $200 ticket, which is expensive? But again, going to the Dodgers, going to a Dodger game is $150 a ticket. Sure, you can get a $60 ticket in nosebleed section, but don't buy a hot dog, don't buy a $12 bottle of water. I mean, it's...
No, the more of the frustrations that I heard, and I understand the ticket sales, but you're not wrong. As an avid concert goer, and sports enthusiast, yes, everything is expensive. Going to a restaurant is expensive. It's all expensive. But that's what happens when you help to, everything, all costs have gone up across the board. My concern, or at least some of the concerns that I've heard from a lot of individuals, was how difficult it was actually even just getting in the queue to get the tickets. And that was, I know, the biggest frustration. People were asking me, I didn't even bother. I got too many other things to get frustrated over, so I didn't even bother, but I know so many folks that were in the queue, and just the frustration that folks in LA deserve to get a fair shot at getting access to this being in the backyard. It was 84, my dad's fire station, he was stationed at Fire Station 15s, which is right across the street from USC. And so he was right across the street from Olympic Village. As a little kid in the Valley, my only experience of the Olympics was through the eyes of my father and the stories that he told me and whatever I got to watch on TV, because it was so disconnected. And I remember having teachers that tried to, I still have my medal from the reading Olympics that we had in school. Those things were excited. I was so proud of our city. Do who remembers the LA's the place sweatshirts, right? We had all of that. And I just want every kid in our city, I want everyone in our community to feel that sense of pride that I still vividly remember as a little girl growing up in the Northeast, and watching my dad when he'd come home with whatever pin he had that he traded with an Olympian. Those were the best stories, and it was Disneyland every time he would come back from work, showing me a new story of what pin he traded and the excitement. Every kid in our city should have that sense of enthusiasm about these games being here. Everyone should feel that sense of pride. But I'll tell you, we got a hell of a lot of work to do. We got to clean up this city. We got to make ourselves Olympic ready. But by the way, I'm not waiting to 2028 to do that. We have a damn responsibility to deliver that for the people of Los Angeles today. And so that's what we should be working towards.
Monica, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you when we see you.